Son of a... Welcome to this issue of Mad Murphy, where I take a few topics that are pissing me off and simply rant about them. I am in no way an expert on any of these topics. These are simply my opinions based off of what I've seen, read, and heard, and if anything I have to say angers you, just get over it. If you wish to make a counterpoint on any of these topics, please feel free to email me with the WHP contact form at wellhey.com/contact or simply add a comment to this video. I will not and absolutely refuse to address any idiot who wants to start a screaming match with me by starting off, including, or ending with insults. These are just my opinions, just as you are entitled to yours. So if you want my respect and have a mature debate, then you may want to start off with some respect as well. You ready? Let's dive right in. This should come to no surprise to anyone, but there are people out there who do not like me. Oh God, say it ain't so! That's perfectly fine. My goal when I started on YouTube 4 years ago was not to make everyone love me. It was to shake things up. And I'm a firm believer that if you want to judge a person by their integrity, by their convictions, then you look at the length of their enemy list. If you want to judge a person by the size of their heart, that's when you look at the length of their friends list. You cannot make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, and I have broken dozens. I'm not 100% proud of an enemy that was born out of me standing my ground or by me calling out others for not standing their ground, but what was said, and enemies are what we became. You can't dog yourself for not being friends with anyone forever. You have to realize the reality of the situation, that you may not be friends with the group you are in forever. That's just how life works. People will enter and leave your life many times throughout, and clinging desperately to those who choose to leave is not healthy. Sting once sung, "If you love someone, set them free. If you just let them go, say your goodbyes, and part as friends, there's a good chance you may return to the scene as friends." But that's not what I came to talk about today, friends. I'm here to talk about enemies, or just people who have a problem with me in general. What you have to realize is the Murphy you see right here and now, or on Tumblr or anywhere else online, is not the real me. Well, that's not entirely true. I try to be as genuine as possible, but the power of the internet gives me the ability to simply amp up who I really am about 1,000%. Most of the shit that I say out loud online, I only have the courage to say in my head, and when I do actually say some of the stuff out loud, I nearly wet myself. I'm not so much of an introvert, but I do not like confrontation. And when I say that, I need to explain that just because I do not like confrontation doesn't necessarily mean that I will not engage in confrontation. I only engage when I absolutely have to, and that's how it should be. If you see someone getting picked on, or you see one of your friends in trouble, you puff up your chest and dive in. That's who I really am. You can ask any one of my friends, and they will tell you that if they're shot at, I would most likely dive in front of the bullet for them. But not many of you know me offline, and you're never going to. You'll be told many different things about me, some true, some false. Now, I can't address all the shit that's floating around about me, but I can tell you one thing, and this is 100% true. I am not psychic. Never have been, never will be. Now, why do I tell you this out of all the stuff that I could have told you? Because if you have a problem with me, how the hell could I ever possibly address it if you don't tell me? 99% of the time, if you just tell me that you have a problem with me, with something I said or did or what have you, and you keep it objective and simply state the facts, I will apologize and see what I can do about it. Case in point. I was talking to a friend of mine a few months ago, and he said, for the most part, that the biggest problem people have with me is that I use the word faggot. Nothing to do with my alleged cheating, my alleged stalking, my alleged lying, etc. The biggest beef is that I occasionally use the word faggot instead of calling someone a douchebag or an asshole. Now, how was I supposed to know that unless someone told me? Oh, of course I'll get the occasional, "Hey asshat, stop using faggot, you cishet piece of scum!" Like I'm gonna listen to that shit. You have an issue with me calling someone a slur, but you have no qualms calling me a slur. That is what we in the real world call hypocritical. A word you should know by now and be able to use it properly. I want everyone to look at who I am this way. It may help, may not. Your perception of me is what you make of it, and I can only explain who I am for so long. There are people who will simply judge because they can. And it's easier for them to deal with the reality of the fact that no one person is 100% virtuous and no one person is 100% evil. What type of person would you rather associate yourself with? Person A. A person who goes to church, believes in the teachings of their God, uses all the politically correct jargon, but practices all the hate and narrow-mindedness that comes with being intolerant. The type of person who would say, "Oh well, I have black friends, so I can't possibly be racist," but has no problem helping stone a woman as she tries to enter a Planned Parenthood. Or person B. A person who is crass, vulgar, uses harsh words that some people do not care for, but would bend over backwards to help you any way possible at the drop of a hat. The type of person who would give you a big hug when you came out of the closet and would march with you in a pride parade. The type of person who asks questions about who you are because they want to understand more about you and or what you are going through. If your problem with me is simply because I use words that you simply do not think are politically correct or nice, or safe, or triggering, then you are bullshitting yourself and have no clue who I really am. I have told people time and time again, if you have an issue with me because you have been told that I am just a nasty guy because of this or that, then take the Murphy 5-minute challenge. If you talk with me for 5 minutes, I guarantee you that everything negative that you've heard about me is completely false. All it takes is 5 minutes of communication, but therein lies the crux of the problem. A lack of communication. That's the one thing I never understood about the internet generation. You have this fantastic tool at your fingertips that allows you to communicate with people on the other side of the world, yet you never use it to actually communicate. Are you actually expecting that if any of you say something critical of someone, that they will literally reach through the computer or phone and punch you in the face? So for all of those who have a problem with me but refuse to tell me about the problem that they have with me, I say, fuck you. You have every opportunity to just talk it out and possibly clear the air about a lot of things, but you refuse to do so. You refuse to let go of that grudge for whatever reason and let it fester and bring you down in the process. So if that's the life that you want to live, then by all means, please, leave me out of it. Those certain people that are all about personal growth and forgiveness and learning from one's mistakes are usually the same people that when you actually do screw up, they're the first ones to jump down your throat about how horrible of a person you are, and how malicious you are, and how big of a liar and cheater and racist and homophobe or any other social media buzzwords that will get them likes and beat you further down when you already know that you screwed up and you probably already feel like shit about it. I have a friend who recently went through some crap with their group of friends. Now, before you send me all this bullshit hate mail about, you only got one side of it, I don't. I went to both sides and got all the sides of the story, and for the most part, and from what I gathered, both sides fucked up. And when I say fucked up, I mean fucked up. There is some irreparable damage that went on, and my heart goes out to both sides, but at the same time, both sides could have handled this much better. And the main reason this rift between once good friends will never be resolved is because both sides refuse to communicate. One side has tried to communicate, but wasn't thorough and omitted certain truths. The other half has just simply blocked off all communication. This really upsets me because I know both halves very well, and I hate to see anyone go through something this stupid, when all you would have to have done is just sit down, talk it out, get everything off your chest, then stay away from each other for about a month, and bam! You're right back to where you used to be. Friends. Because that's how the human condition works. You've heard the phrase, time heals all wounds. That phrase is 100% true, but you first have to put on the right medicine so that it can heal properly. An emotional wound can fester, turn into resentment, then turn to hatred, and then you will have become a Sith Lord and the circle of the Force will have become complete, young Padawan. I see this shit every day and it sickens me. People would rather stay mad at someone for something stupid that they did rather than talk about it, vent their grievances, and let time and the human condition do its job. Why do people hang on to their hatred? It will only burn you from the inside out. First, this one friendship falls apart, and then you harbor all that anger, and then hold on to it and bottle it all up. And then, because anger is like soda in a corked bottle, the pressure begins to build, and then, whoops, you pop off on someone else. Now there are two people that you dislike. But with that new dislike comes more anger. So you have more to bottle up, but you don't have any more bottle to store it in. So what do? You start acting all irrational, and you make severe errors in judgment and cut ties with friends that really had nothing to do with the original issue. But now, they're either with you or they're against you. So there's more anger to bottle up, and now it's like a bubbling volcano, ready to blow. But wait! What's this? Others have seen your actions and reaction as of late, and they want to distance themselves from you. Well, fine, fuck them. Who needs them anyway? And the volcano is about to blow, and all it takes is just one slight breeze, one unpredictable move, and boom! The whole thing comes down in a self-destruction so powerful they can feel the aftershock 3 counties over. In my next issue, I will be talking about letting go of your anger, but this is how much of it begins. Nobody talks to anybody. It's always a bevy of, well, he said that she said that he said that you're an asshole. How the fuck is that going to solve anything? Look, like I said, if you want to harness all that anger, go right ahead. Just leave me out of it. If you feel uncomfortable with me simply because I use a word that you don't like, and rather than talk to me about it, you just prefer to avoid me and then talk smack when I'm not around, then by all means, don't let me stop you. Just don't come back to me when the tables are turned. And they eventually will turn. Because you may have realized that your anger was misplaced, but I've also moved on, and I don't need you in my life anymore. If you stuck around this long, I want to thank you for letting me air out my grievances, and believe me, I got lots of them, so I'll just close out with the usual. It doesn't matter what your religion is. I think we can all believe that treat others as you wish to be treated is a pretty decent rule to live by. So why don't we just stop the fighting and treat others the way we would like to be treated? You can never have too much of a good thing. Unless it's liquor, then drink responsibly. I look at all of my friends and fans as younger brothers and sisters. I am not yelling simply to yell. I just don't want you to make the same mistakes that I have. So if I go off on you individually, it's because I see you're about to hit that point where you're going to turn into me. And we cannot have any more Murphys. The world can barely tolerate one. If you missed any of this Mad Murphy issue, the transcript will be posted on WellHey.com. So stop on by and enjoy the insanity. If you have a suggestion of a topic you'd like to hear my opinion about, you can let me know in the comments or at wellhey.com/contact. As always, you can catch me and say hi on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube. This is Murphy1976 of WellHey Productions, where we bring you colorful insanity to your drab, uneventful lives.